I want to show you how to fix a mistake in your cables if you should happen to make one. In this small sample, I have 3 repeats of my pattern, and I have a right-leaning cable and a right-leaning cable, and then the center one is left-leaning, and it should be a right-leaning cable. So let me show you how I fix this. If this would happen to be a shawl that has a whole row of cables, you certainly wouldn't want to tink back 2 whole rows to get to this. It's quite easy to fix this as you continue on your knitting. So let's see how that's done. I'm going to real quickly knit up to that point, continuing on with my pattern. And I will just do this continental and without a cable needle just so I can get there quicker. And in this pattern, this row calls for a right-leaning purl cable and then a left-leaning purl cable. So we'll do this, and then I purl these back ones. And then for the left-leaning one, I hold the stitches to the front. And then knit these. And here we are at the section where our mistake is. Now I can do this a couple ways. This only involves these 4 stitches, but I think I will go ahead and work with all 8 stitches to give you a little better idea how to do this. Sometimes it's easier if you go ahead and take the whole section out so you don't have to worry about your stitches quite so much. So I'm just going to take my double point and undo these stitches all the way across. To my other marker. Now I'm going to cap that off, and we'll put that to the side. And then this is the row that actually has the mistake in it, so I need to undo this row as well. So I'm going to come in under that thread. Sometimes they're a little awkward to get started, but you just go in the stitch below and then pull the yarn to undo that. And I'll just do them in order, and then we'll rearrange our stitches. Now you can do this any way that is comfortable for you. I personally rearrange them while I'm doing this, but I'll do it this way to show it better. Okay, now here are my stitches, and I see I goofed a little bit right there. There's part of the stitch below. So what I'm going to do is take these 2 stitches, they're correct, and then I'm going to grab these 2 with my cable needle, and I'll leave that thread there because that's part of the stitch below. I really don't want that on there. And I'll take those off. What did I do there? I think I got an extra stitch in there. And then I'll put those back on. Oh, I see. Okay, I'll just leave it that way, and then I'll show you what the problem is in just a second. Okay, so now they're back in the correct order. And what I see when I turn it around is that I have dropped a stitch. Okay, so I'm going to fix that when I get to it. And I know I dropped it because this strand should be woven in there. And actually, let me just go ahead and fix it now so we don't have to worry about it. Okay, so there are my undone stitches. Now you'll see you've got 2 strands down here. And it's important that when you start knitting, you work with this lower strand. So this is the one we want to knit with. So let's hang on to that and turn it back around. We can knit with on the front side with these. Okay, so now for this pattern, I'm going to purl 2, and I'll try to do this for throwers. And remember, I'm not a thrower, so this will look a little awkward. And that's my dog in the background. He wants out, but I don't want to let him out. And then we want to hold these to the back. So hold those to the back. Knit these two. Oops, I need to take my yarn to the back. We're going to knit these 2. We'll put those stitches back on the needle. And knit them. And then we're going to purl these last 2 stitches. And that will fix. You get a little growl there. Sorry about that, but I don't want to stop. Okay, and there's our first row. And you'll notice we have some extra yarn here. And if you want, you can just work this back across. You always get a little extra yarn because you're pulling it tight to get those stitches in. Just work that back across. And kind of even those out. Okay, there you have it. And then we're going to take this other one, and I will do this one continental. We have our cable correct, and then we're just going to knit. This would be our wrong side row, and with double points, we can just do it on the right side. And we're going to purl the purls and knit the knits. And the same thing with this row. You're going to have extra yarn because we're pulling it tight to work on it. And again, if you want to, you can just work this back across. I usually don't worry about this because by the time you get done working with your yarn and finishing the garment and blocking it, it pretty much works itself out. But I know that bothers a lot of people. Okay, so there we have our cable fixed, and we can proceed with this current right side row. Now you can either put these back on your working needle or you can knit right off the double point, which I am going to do. And this is a right leaning cable, so we're going to the back. And I just want to do this part so we can quickly get to the end. So I'm going to do a continental without the cable needle. And this is our left leaning cable. And then we can pick up put our double point to the side and continue on with our working needle. These are going to go to the back. And then we'll take a look at our fixed cable design, and that will keep you from having to do a whole lot of extra work just fixing one cable that you've goofed up. I have done this going back quite a few rows on an Afghan that I made, and it does work. It just takes a little patience. I would suggest you do this on maybe a scrap piece like I'm doing here to practice before you do it on your shawl. But once you learn how to do that, it's really empowering to be able to fix your own work. And there we have it. And now they all look like they're supposed to. And this is just a little looser than normal, but by the time you finish out your shawl and block it, it won't even show. So there, you have it. A way to fix your cables. Hope that helps. Happy knitting!